guys, so in this lesson I'm going to give you another variation on the 12-bar blues, which is called the Bird Blues. Now it's known as the Bird Blues because it was used a lot by Charlie Parker, who's known as the Bird. Now he played bebop, which is a really intense, fast, harmonically complex type of jazz. As I'll sort of play it in a second, but essentially this is more or less as far away from the blues as you can get while still playing the 12-bar blues. It's almost not recognizable as a 12-bar blues, and you'll see why as I play it. So it's very much on the jazz side of the spectrum rather than the blues side, but it sounds like this. Now, if you were sort of paying attention to that, you'll notice something really strange. It starts off on the C major 7, which is not at all the bluesy sound, because generally blues uses the dominant chord, that is the flat 7. But this is why I say it's pushing on the jazz side of things rather than the blues side of things, because even the opening chord is effectively a jazz chord, a C major 7, rather than a C dominant 7. But the chord progression goes as follows. A full bar of C major 7, half a bar of B minor 7 flat 5, which is also known as B half diminished, to half a bar of E7, half a bar of A minor 7, half a bar of D7, half a bar of G minor 7, half a bar of C7, to a full bar of F7, to half a bar of F minor 7, to B flat 7 for half a bar, E minor 7 for half a bar, A7 for half a bar, E flat minor 7 for half a bar, to A flat 7 for half a bar, D minor 7 for a full bar, to G7 for a full bar, and then a little turnaround that goes C major 7, to A7, to D minor 7, to G7, back to your C major 7. Now, as you can see, that uses a lot of sort of cycle of fifths chord progression ideas, where it goes from the C major 7 down one semitone to the B, which becomes effectively a 2-5-1, to the A, which becomes another 2-5-1, to the G, which becomes another 2-5-1, down to the F, which we hit on bar 5, which is where we usually find the F in a standard 12-bar blues. So that's the reason that works. It goes, just follows the 2-5-1, or like a cycle of fifths, moving down until you get to the chord, until you get to your 4 chord on bar 5. Then it sort of follows a similar idea, where it goes to the F minor 7 to B flat 7, which is another 2-5-1, then down to a semitone to E minor 7 to A7, which is another 2-5, down another semitone to E flat minor 7 to A flat 7, then down another semitone to D minor 7, G7. So here we're doing 2 5s, but we're moving down in semitones. Or sorry, E F minor 7, down a semitone, down a semitone, down a semitone, and back to the C, and then you do a little turnaround. Right, so that's the general idea, and if you have a look in the picture-in-picture, I've written out the key that each 2-5-1 is in. So effectively the B to the E is in the key of A minor. And the reason it's A minor rather than A major is because we're in the key of C major to begin with, and we're effectively moving to an A key, and it sounds nicer if you move to the A minor because it's the relative minor key. It's got no flats or sharps, although in this case we play the harmonic minor. So you've got the sharpened 7th there. And that's because of the E7 has the G sharp. But effectively you're moving from the major to the related minor, which sounds awesome. So again, C major, the B to the E is in A minor, the A to the D is in G major, the G to the C is in F major, the F7 is in B flat major, the F minor 7 to the B flat 7 is in E flat major, the E to the A is in D major, the E flat to the A flat is in D flat major, then the D and the G is in C major. So we're sort of just moving down the key signature each time, following the cycle of fifths, just sort of a secondary and then a tertiary 2-5-1. That means that you have a 2-5-1 on top of your 2-5-1. So if this is your primary 2-5-1, from the D to the G, your secondary 2-5-1 starts higher up, and the tertiary 2-5-1 starts even higher up. Now when you're improvising over all of that, you could of course change keys with each 2-5-1. So when you're playing the B to the E, you can play in A minor. When you're playing the A to the D, you can play in G major. And when you're playing the G to the C, you can play in F major. But that's a lot of key changing. You're effectively changing keys every bar, and that's A, confusing and complicated and difficult to play, and B, it can sound a bit funny because it sounds like there's no consistency. You're just playing sort of every bar is a new sound, is a new scale. It sounds a bit sort of confused, like you don't quite know what you're doing, you're sort of looking for the right scale. For that reason, I'm going to give you two sort of two ideas you can use. Over that chord progression, you can just use the standard C blues scale over the entire chord progression. Now, some of those chords are going to sound a bit weird when you play a C blues over it, but that's okay. It's a jazzy chord progression. You're allowed to sound weird. That's one of the beauties of jazz. And the C blues scale is the scale I used to improvise over that little sort of solo I played at the beginning of this lesson. So that sounds like this. So that doesn't sound great over all of them. For example, the C major 7 shouldn't really have the B flat, but whatever, we'll let that go. And the E minor 7 going to the A7 should really have a C sharp, because that's in the key of D, which has a C sharp. But again, we'll let that slide for the sake of simplicity. But of course you can sort of add those little bits in, add in sort of major 7 when you're playing the C major 7, or the C sharp when you're playing the 2-5 in the key of D, but I didn't for that time. But the other little thing you can do that I find sounds pretty cool in this chord progression is play the A blues scale. Now the reason that works is because the A blues scale, the A minor pentatonic, is exactly the same as the C major pentatonic. And then you're just throwing in the E flat as well. Now, because you're using the C major 7 in your chord progression, a C major pentatonic sounds pretty good. And because we move to the key of A minor straight after in bar 2, effectively, it flows together nicely. So if you just use the A blues scale over that entire chord progression, I personally find it sounds pretty cool. So that'll sound like this. Screwed up there, played a slightly different turnaround there by accident, but you get the general idea. So that was just the Byrd blues, the Byrd 12-bar blues, with the A blues scale played instead of the C blues scale, or the C major pentatonic instead of the C minor pentatonic. And I personally find that sounds pretty cool. Otherwise, that's all I really wanted to show you. Hope that made sense. Feel free to leave any questions or comments, and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks, guys, and good luck sort of trying to make this bluesy. It sounds a bit, yeah, out there, but go for it. See ya.